He agrees that everything is beautiful, except Los Angeles, his childhood, the news media, the Rams' last game, any music produced in the last 10 years. You know what? I'll just stop there. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. No choice. We're going to amend it. Get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you, right, Gina Grad?
That's right.
And bold Bryan, who had to go into the emergency room, and it was in, I don't know if he was in intensive care or whatever, but he's getting shipped to a room now.
Yeah, I said this, I believe we were in San Diego when we were talking about how men tend to die first, and I clapped back with it's because they don't go to the hospital when they're sick or go to the doctor. Christy just forced him and twisted his arm, and he said, I'm good. And she said, no, we're going. And so, yeah, they're there, and he's on the mend, I think.
Hopefully. So he had the flu. He's getting antibiotics now, and we'll keep you guys updated. All right. So Ray Stevens, who has sold 40 million albums over a 60-year career, was a big part of my childhood. We've talked about Ray Stevens because he sung Ahab the Arab, and he sung Guitar Zan.
Right.
And then he came back with a huge hit, I think, in between Ahab the Arab, king of the burning sand. He wrote Weird Al songs.
Right.
Except for he was better than Weird Al, because Weird Al just
They were derivative.
some song by The Knack into I Like Eggs or something.
Amazing Grapes.
I know everyone loves Weird Al, but Dick Banks and Mike Lynch write a much better novelty song than Weird Al does. Sorry, Weird Al. I could do what Weird Al does when I was 9. If you listen to the lyrics of some of the songs Dick Banks comes up with and Mike Lynch comes up on the show, it's sort of next level from Weird Al. But everyone loves Weird Al. And look, I love Weird Al too. What he does isn't particularly impressive to me, but
relatable.
Ray Stevens would do his own novelty songs like Ahab the Arab. And it says 83. I heard 90, but we'll figure out how old Ray Stevens is. So
he's worked with the greats, a.k.a. Dolly Parton.
Yeah, been there, done that. Interesting guy, kind of lost to the dustbin of history, but I always remember Ray Stevens, so we'll talk to him. All right, so semi-eventful morning this morning.
Did it have to do with you getting color?
No, did I get color?
Yeah.
Well, I was running the streets frantically.
Oh, okay.
With no SPF on.
Gotcha.
I was doing press for The Masked Singer. So I was, as this airs, it has aired already. So I may talk about The Masked Singer.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, when they say it's not for public consumption, then it's not for public consumption.
There was an embargo?
There's an embargo.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah. So I don't know if you watch that show. I don't know if
I'm
that's
watching
your
the
show.
shit out of it now.
So
I've seen Drew's episode.
I was avocado on The Masked Singer. And so I had this crazy morning because they line up press for you.
When did you tape this? I have so many questions.
Oh, man. It's probably been 6 or 7 weeks ago. And you can ask anything you want. So I'm doing press this morning for The Masked Singer. And they roll, you get your guide, your Sherpa on the phone. And then she goes, next time we're talking Entertainment Weekly. And then we're going to talk to the Hollywood Reporter. And everyone's got 10 minutes. So I'm putzing around my house because my shit is always back to back. And I'm supposed to wrap it at 10:15 and be here to podcast at 10:30. So I'm trying to get dressed and, conduct these interviews. At some point, I notice Phil is missing.
Oh, boy.
So Phil does this move, and this is my fault. I open the front door. Phil walks out, and he perches himself on the landing on the top of the stairs, and he just sort of lays there regally surveying the neighborhood. So then I look at him for a little while, and he's just sort of looking. Phil's not a dog that's always trying to hop the fence or get out or anything. He knows where his bread is buttered. He's got it pretty good where he lives. And he will wander off every once in a while, but it's not like, there's the neighbor dog and he loves that dog and he's always trying to get into his yard or anything.
Gravity seems to be heavier around Phil. He just wants to plop down.
Yeah, so he's plopped down on the landing overlooking the neighborhood. And I'm like, okay, all right, front door's open. I'm doing an interview. So I'm kind of going, let the sleeping dog lay. Like, I want to do a thing with like, Phil, come in here. Get in. Come on, boy. He's just there. And I'm in the middle of this interview. And at some point they go, oh, your phone's breaking up. And I go, okay, let me step out onto the patio. It's a better signal. And I step out in the patio for about 3 minutes. And I come out. Phil's gone.
Oh, boy.
So, but I still have more interviews to go. So now Phil's gone. Nobody's home. And so now they're going, all right, now we're going to talk to a guy from the Hollywood Reporter. And then this guy, of course, great. This guy's like, oh, hey, I'm a big fan. I listened to Kevin and Bean back in the day. I've always followed your career. So this guy's heaping praise on me. And I'm frantically running around the yard and running around the house. Now, I don't know if Phil has wandered away and he's in another part of the yard or he's wandered into the neighbor's yard. So now I'm having this interview with this person who telling me how much they love the Man Show and want to know what it's like to do the Masked Singer. As I'm running through the house, opening doors, looking into rooms, running into the living room.
Breathlessly.
Where's Phil? At a certain point, I'm heading down the driveway and I'm jogging down the street.
Oh my God.
And this guy's going, what was it like being an avocado? And I'm like, it was good. It was good. It was good. It was good. I always wanted to be an avocado. And my head's on a swivel and I'm like jogging down the street. Phil is nowhere to be found. So the guy keeps, talking about what a fan he is and what was it like being an avocado and what songs was I singing. I'm like, yeah, it's good. It's good. It's all good. Now I'm in the car. Now I'm driving.
Oh, my God.
Because Phil's...
Like you're patrolling the neighborhood.
Phil's gone. And now I'm circling the neighborhood, but I'm doing this interview the whole time, but my head's on a swivel and I'm passing by people who are walking their dogs. And I want to stop and say, did you see... Phil, but
how's that supposed to work?
I'm in the middle of this interview. I'm in my car now. So now I'm just driving around. I got nothing. Phil, pull back into the house. Now I'm looking the house again in case Phil came back and wandered back in. I left the front door open.
Such a glamorous life.
Supposed to be here at 10:30. It's now we've wrapped up the interviews at 10:15, but I can't come here because I don't know where Phil is. So I'm back in the car, frantically driving around the neighborhood, and at some point spot Phil, but I'm going to show up a half hour late.
So he was out and about. He didn't.
He was. When I spotted him, it was a good 6-7 blocks. Like he'd moseyed on. He was not going anywhere. He was just moseying as he does. Now, somebody would find him and collect him, but he didn't have his collar on, and I don't know what they would have done with him.
Well, he definitely doesn't look underfed, so we know he's not neglected or a street dog.
He's not feral.
Oh, my God.
So, all right. So I found Phil, hustled him back to the house, and then took off for work. So that was kind of, that was my morning.
Okay. Now can we please move on to the good stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what the fuck is just an all-encompassing question.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we will all watch this and be ready, and that's so exciting. What song did you sing?
Mm-hmm. Well, the first song, so they have 3 categories, I would say. They would have songs they've cleared.
Mm-hmm.
They would have songs that you could possibly pull off with your lack of rain.
They come up with this list for you?
No, well, we know the cleared songs, and then they have themes, like, oh, this is a roast night or a Halloween night or something like that.
Yes.
So then they might pick a song that was emblematic of a theme.
Okay.
So the very first song they picked was a song I love, but
shocking.
But I realized unsingable.
What is it?
It was The Distance by Cake.
Oh, she's going the
Yes,
distance.
and that's what you think the song is.
Just talking.
But if you hear the beginning of that song,
Starting line.
I come back and I hit them with MacArthur Park.
Oh, wait, I feel like somebody did that.
I don't know.
Oh, okay, then maybe not. Maybe not.
Richard Harris's MacArthur Park.
The cake out in the rain.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because
Okay.
I thought that song's funny. Their producer's like, what the fuck? No. What are you, nuts? No. We want to do Wild Boys by Duran Duran.
That's right.
So one of the things is they float songs and then you learn them and then they take them back and then they float another song and then you learn them and you take them back.
How long was this process? If you taped 6 weeks ago, when did it start?
The very first part of it, I didn't circle any calendar dates, but you go to an undisclosed location in Hollywood and you get fitted. Now, everything you do, they provide you with a hoodie and gloves and one of those face shields that the guy who was dating Donald Sterling, the old owner.
Oh, the visor.
Right,
the
V, whatever her
stormtrooper,
name was. Right, so they cannot have any skin exposed, not the back of your hand or the side of your neck.
Right.
Because we cannot know if it's male or female or black
Color,
or white.
yeah.
We cannot know anything. So they give you all this stuff and you sit in their SUV and you get dressed in this full ninja outfit, and then somebody comes and gets you and they escort you in, and you have this sweatshirt that says "Don't talk to me."
Oh, that's real.
Yeah. And nobody, no crew, nobody else working on the lot, nobody at the place, they can't do it until you get inside and they close the door.
I can't tell if this would make me feel like a celebrity or a hostage.
You know, Gina, being a celebrity is like being a hostage to my fans.
Understood.
So you go in and then they go, here's your outfit. And they go, it's an avocado outfit.
But you probably picked that because it's great for you. I mean, that's great. We always talk about avocados.
They go, when you're doing the process, they go, we have a couple ideas. One of them's an avocado. And then I just go, yeah, fine. Avocado. Sounds
But it's
good.
perfect. We're always joking about it's perfect food.
Oh, it could have been a dragon or the Statue of Liberty.
No, this is good. This is good.
I don't care. So I went in and they have amazing costumers and they build the avocado outfit.
Wow.
And the thing is you have to be able to walk around in it. You have to be able to sing in it. You have to be able to
How about seeing?
see.
How do you see?
I think
Your face has to be somewhere in the pit.
no, my face was up top above the pit.
What?
It's a half an avocado, so the pit's right in the center.
How the fuck do you see through
You
that?
see through a scrim that's the color of the material around the avocado, but you can't see well through
On
it.
a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being right now, how well do you see?
If right now is a 10,
Yeah.
you would see it about a 4. But you're limited peripherally,
Right.
sort of up and down
Right.
too. So you don't see that well. So they fit you. They get you into the costume, and it has a harness and a thing, and they put you in the socks and the sweats and the oversized shoes, which you have to move around in these like novelty oversized
Clown
shoes.
shoes.
And they're going to do, it's a shoe that you would wear your own shoe into.
I see.
And it would sort of clamp on.
They're like a giant Converse.
Yes, and then they try to get you to move around a little. I was approaching it as an ex-cabinet maker. I was like, "Hey, this is a nice job." It was sturdy, it was taut. You know, they work it out.
Good crown molding.
Yeah, they work out the construction of these outfits. So
I imagine you're mic'd on the inside and the mic you're holding is a prop.
yeah, it's a novelty mic on the outside, a prop mic. The inside is sort of headset thing, and
Yeah.
they put an earbud in you so you can hear like the feedback and stuff like that. Then you go in, and they have a voice coach, and you sit in a room with a nice lady, and you sit there. And it's a small room with a sofa, and you like sit on the sofa, and she'll hand you the sheet music.
Is there any like la 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 la?
Yeah, you'll do like
I know.
You'll do a little vocal warm up, and then at some point she'll be tinkering around on the piano, electric piano, and then she'll point at you. The worst part is having to sing in a room with her.
Indeed.
Once you get on stage, you feel the adrenaline in the crowd and stuff, but just sitting in that room, going through the various songs.
Vulnerable.
At some point, we narrowed it down to Hit the Road Jack by another Ray. And then they guide you to this little back room, and they put the thing on you, and there's always a guide. There's always somebody, because you're weaving through the catacombs backstage, and you just can't see anything, especially when it's dark. And then you go out on stage, and then you work with the choreographer and the backup dancers, and you're going to start here, and you'll hear the
good one. Robin, what you got?
How does choreography work when you're in a giant avocado and oversized shoes, and your only arm movement is forward?
I have a gift from playing 7 years of Pop Warner football, which is I can fucking follow instructions. If you go, there'll be the thing in your ear, and they'll count you down, and you start your movement on the countdown, and you walk across the whole side stage, and then you come here and you hit this mark, you begin singing, finish the first verse, walk forward, stop, finish, then walk backwards to your old spot. Now, you can't see your spots. You have to kind of feel those out a little bit. You have a clip of what? Is there a clip, Chris?
Yeah, we do.
Oh my God!
Of what?
This is just a promo clip of Robin guessing who he thinks the avocado is.
Oh my!
All right.
Interesting.
So you walk out. Now you try to do the choreography as best you can, but your legs are pretty limited. Your feet are pretty limited in these big shoes, and
your arms are
pretty limited. But I think I pulled off the choreography. Now listen, I've not seen it, so I have no real idea if I completely hit every mark.
So was "Hit the Road Jack" the song you went with?
Yeah, "Hit the Road Jack," and then you're allowed to put your own flavor on it at the end. I was making avocado jokes, and it was all a dream. But when you guys see it, you'll know it. But you then go backstage. They walk you through the thing. They come back. They want to know, if you want to work with the vocal coach again. That was the first song. If you win the first song, you get by. You get to the second song. So I got to the second song.
Look at you!
But the second song was the worst song ever for anyone. Certainly for me to sing. For a dude to sing, you couldn't do worse than this, Gina.
Yeah.
And everyone here. It starts off. You walked into the party like you were walking onto a yacht. Mm-hmm. Your hat strategically dipped below one eye. Your scarf, it was apricot. Kind of nuanced stuff.
Painting a picture.
Now here's the controversy. Okay. You had one eye in the mirror as you watched yourself. You had one eye in the mirror.
I don't know. I have to hear it and see if I can
think.
Wait, before you tell me, can I hear that part?
Well, you're supposed to cut it before you get to the fucking line that you're supposed to guess.
I have no clue.
Doing the line.
As you washed yourself cravat? As you what?
So most people, when they sing the song, sing, "You had one eye in the mirror as you watched yourself go by."
Sure.
And all the but the lyric is gavat.
What's a gavat?
It's a dance.
Really?
Yeah, I had to look it up. I'm not gay.
It's a medium-paced French dance popular in the 18th century.
That's not a...
This song is lyrically interesting because you walked into the party like you were walking onto a yacht. Interesting.
Yeah.
Your hat was strategically dipped below one eye, your scarf, it was apricot. You already have a sort of, nuanced, interesting stare. And you had an eye in the mirror as you watch yourself not go by, but gavotte. Sachet.
There's not a human being on earth that knew that.
Nobody knew what the fuck I was talking about. I said, nobody knows what gavotte means.
No.
I said, I'm just going to say as you watch yourself go by.
Oh, I bet they didn't cotton to that.
No, they went do whatever you want.
Oh.
Yeah. Because no one knew what the word gavotte meant.
Wow.
And then no one ever sings it that way because they don't know what gavotte means.
The scarf didn't have to be apricot.
No.
So we could have picked any other kind of dance.
Well, they're rhyming with yacht.
Oh, sure.
Too, but yeah, very Weird Al of you to change it to go by.
Well, very Weird Al. Yeah, you're right. I thought, well, first off, gavotte means nothing.
Nothing.
But as you went by the mirror, you would watch yourself go by.
Absolutely.
It didn't screw things up rhythmically, and most people would think it was that anyway.
Yeah.
So I took my artistic license and went go by.
And which song, I already know the answer to this, but which song did you have more fun singing?
Hit the Road was great because I had all the backup singers and I was yelling at them, and I was able to do all of my lyrics. At the end, there's a part at the end who's going, "Oh, come on, woman, you can't mean that. Oh, but what about?" And I switch it all to guacamole and avocado. You don't put me in a brown bag, baby. I'm ripe now. Like stupid avocado.
The crowd loved it.
Humor. Yeah. So, but I blew out my voice completely, and then we went right into this weird female nothing song.
And if you started with the hook, you would have had a fighting chance, but the first verse is very lyrical.
Yes. So people would say to me, as I was doing all these interviews today, they were like, "Why would you do this?" And I said, because it seemed like an experience to me. It seemed like an interesting experience. And then they go, "Well, you can't sing." So here's what I want to say to everybody.
No.
You will get invited to these celebrity things. Now, celebrity things fall into a couple of categories. They'll go, we're doing the Dodgers an Evening with the Stars celebrity softball game. In which case I'll go, I played high school baseball. I fucking love softball. And I hit a couple of dingers and had the time of my life because I can play softball and I was into it. And then at some point they'll go, how about doing the Toyota Celebrity Grand Prix in Long Beach? I'll go, I love driving cars. Oh, that I can do. I know I can drive faster than Wanda Sykes. And then we're in. And then they go, how about doing Dance with Stars? And then I go, I cannot dance. But now I can't really break everything up between stuff I'm good at and stuff I'm not good at.
I mean, plenty of people do, and they just sit out.
The deal is the experience, and those are the rules. And so when they say, how about you dance? I go, I don't know how to dance, but I'm in for the experience. And then they go, how about you sing? And I go, I don't know how to sing, but I'm in for the experience. So if you kind of go, well, Celebrity Grand Prix, Celebrity Softball Game, good, sing, dance, bad, we're even.
That's awesome. Again, this is very inspiring. I mean, that's the thing. You did something on a giant stage, literally and figuratively, something you cannot do. You had a great time. We can't wait to watch it. Now, we'll see this obviously soon enough, but the reveal, does the pit pop out or something? How do you reveal?
They have a hatch at the top that drops, so you're pretty covered with sweat at that point.
Not looking your best.
Not at that point in the game, but and there's always somebody standing nearby for long breaks who's like the water wrangler, and they will pull you backstage, walk you backstage, flap the thing. Then it's unclear whether they dump water into your mouth themselves from the top or they hand you the bottle and you pull your arm up through your body and try to dump it into your mouth. It was
How was that unclear? Which did you do?
I tried both. Neither worked very well, but hydration.
I imagine actually Drew had one, so this is interesting. I would imagine one bar you have to leap over to be clearable to be a contestant is no panic attacks. But Drew has had a panic attack before. I don't know if I could stay in this costume and not like burst into flames. Like if you were that hot, was there a little personal fan in there?
Just me.
Okay.
They do have Wranglers with little electric fans, little battery operated fans. And the thing that's funny is they will do it, but they don't want to reveal you to the audience or whatever in between long commercial breaks. So the person does their best guess of where your face is and holds the fan in, but sometimes they're down around your belly, and then you have to keep moving their hand, and then their hand starts drifting to one side, and then you have to reach out and kind of grab the fan hand of the person. But the costumers are great. Everyone's great. It kind of reminded me of Dancing with the Stars. Everyone was like there, total pro. And, you got to get back into the cloak and into the SUV with the smoked windows in it. And they can't see any skin.
Well, you've been sitting on this for a while. So anyone who says, can you keep a secret? I think we already know the answer to that.
Yeah, my feeling is with most things is once you say, yes, I will commit to not talking about this stuff with anybody, then that'll be the last time I think about it.
Yeah, it's in the vault.
Yeah, and also knowing that no one in my circle gives two shits about it.
Right, makes it a lot easier.
Anyway, Dawson.
I'm curious what Jenny McCarthy's reaction to it being you was, because you unknowingly were a big piece of a Masked Singer promo last year.
Oh, right.
All during football season, where she guesses Adam Carolla.
That's true.
Yeah, well, they didn't guess me. They guessed me on shows I wasn't there for. All right.
Well, good on ya.
We'll tell you more about this. Ray Stevens is waiting in the wings. First, I'll tell you about Stamps.com. No matter how much we prep, holiday chaos always comes, especially for the small business. Get holiday mailings and shippings under control with Stamps.com. All you need is a computer and a printer. I've used these guys for years. We've used these guys for years. We send out merch and books and paperwork, plus major discounts, like up to 86% off UPS rates. Rates are constantly changing with Stamps.com's. You can, it's a switch and save feature. You can compare carriers and rates and get the best deal everywhere. Why would you go to the post office in 2022? Go with Stamps.com. Sign up with the promo code Adam for a special offer, including a 4-week trial, free postage, and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Stamps.com. You go there, you click the microphone at the top of the homepage, you enter Adam, you get the big discounts, and you get this scale, which is a digital scale. It goes to 60 or 80 pounds. It is Stamps.com. The legendary Ray Stevens is going to join us right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hey, Adam. You've compared mushrooms to fish and chips. Well, I want to compare pizza to cocaine. I only like it if it's not mine. If I go to someone's house and they offer me a slice of pizza, I may have one or two, but I'll leave the rest alone. If they offer me a bump, I'll have one or two. If I order a whole pizza, I will eat the whole thing, and if I get an 8-ball, I will do the whole thing. Later.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Well, finally, Ray Stevens has joined us from Nashville. Sold more than 40 million albums, nominated for 12-time nominated Grammy Award winners. Won a couple. Best Contemporary Male Vocalist has won for Everything is Beautiful. And next week will be inducted into the Musicians Hall of Fame with Vince Gill and Marty Stewart and Don McLean. Already in the Country Music Hall of Fame as of 2019. It's Ray Stevens. Good to see you, Ray Stevens.
Thank you, Adam. Good to see you.
So I've always marveled at your career because I grew up hearing all the novelty songs, Guitar Zan and Ahab the Arab, and the Streak. I forgot. As well. And then hearing Everything is Beautiful, I thought, I can't believe these songs are coming from the same human being. But how did the novelty stuff begin?
Well, I don't know. I tried singing love songs at first and was not very successful at that. So I thought, well, I'll just try a novelty song and see if people like it. And they did. So I managed to sneak a few straight songs in there along the way. But I'm kind of known at this point for writing and singing comedy songs. So there you go.
And some of the first videos, some of the first music videos back before people made music videos, I seem to recall, like pre-MTV, right?
Well, yeah, I made a long form video. That is a package. It was so long ago, it was VHS. And it had 8 videos of comedy songs on it. And we sold it over cable TV with the 800 number. And I don't know. I think the time was just right. People had just started buying VHS machines, and they were looking for something to play on them, I guess. And we sold about 5 million of that long form video, and it really has still been hanging around as late as today, you know.
I'm reading down here that you played on a session with Elvis Presley back in the day. Can you walk us through that?
Well, you know, I was hired to just play whatever is needed as a utility guy, so to speak. And they needed some trumpets a la Herb Alpert. So they said, well, let's call some trumpet players. And Charlie McCoy was also on that session. And he and I both played trumpets. So we said, hold it. We got you covered here. So we went out to our cars. We kept all kinds of instruments in the trunks of our cars and brought in our trumpets and played on the Elvis session. We played trumpets, twin trumpets, which is what Herb Alpert usually used, 2 trumpets, and on a couple of songs for Elvis on that session. So it was a lot of fun.
How many instruments do you play?
Well, I'm primarily a keyboard guy. I used to play, you know, a few of the other instruments, but my embouchure, as they call it, has fallen flat. So I don't play trumpet or clarinet anymore. I just mainly stick to keyboards, but with all the sounds that they've put on the keyboards these days, I can pretty much play all the sounds that you normally hear on a horn or other, even strings. Some of the string sounds on these keyboards these days are fantastic.
Where did you grow up and how did you get into the business?
I grew up in a little cotton mill town, North Georgia. And my dad was a baseball player. He played for the local cotton mill team. Down south, that was pretty much standard operating procedure for the mills and the factories down south to have a baseball team. And so as a kid, I wanted to be a baseball player like my dad, but I wasn't big enough. And my mother thought that I would be good at playing the piano. So she talked my dad into buying an old upright piano. And I started piano lessons when I was 6. And I kind of stayed with it for about 15 years and majored in music at Georgia State. So that's how I sort of got in the record business and the music business.
Did you move out ever to LA or Nashville or New York or?
Yeah, well, you know, when I was 17, I was living in Atlanta, which is just a little south of my little cotton mill village. And I met a guy named Bill Lowry, who was a music publisher, and he encouraged me to write songs. And that's when I started writing songs. And I wrote a song that he liked, and he was connected with producers, and I got signed to Capitol Records when I was 17 years old. And I was still in high school, and I thought, wow, this is easy. Good luck. Anyway, I started trying to have a hit writing straight love songs and couldn't get arrested. So I started writing Sergeant Preston of the Yukon and Jeremiah Peabody's Pills and Ahab the Arab and started having success with the comedy things.
Were you always were you kind of a clown? Like, were you a class clown? Did you always have a sense of humor? Did you ever do like stand up and that kind of stuff?
No, I think I always had a sense of humor, but I really didn't try to be a class clown or be a stand-up comedian. I just played the piano and sang, and I had a little band down in Atlanta. It was a pretty good band. Jerry Reed was my guitar player. And if you know who that is.
Yeah, Smoking the Bandit, Jerry Reed.
Yeah.
He drove the semi-truck.
Right. So
did he sing I Don't Like Spiders and Snakes?
No, that was Jim Stafford.
Oh, Jim Stafford. He was another sort of funny actor, singer.
Yeah. We had theaters together in Branson, Missouri.
Yeah, Jim Stafford, right. Yeah, Jerry Reed. But Jerry Reed, what were Jerry Reed? Jerry Reed had had hits, and he had some sort of, what would you call it, sort of funny songs or novelty songs?
Yeah, he's bound and down, right?
Yeah, but before
that wasn't a funny song, but it was a tempo hit from the movie Smokey and the Bandit. But he had a song called Amos Moses, which was a hit, and he had several hits during all that time.
So Jerry Reed is playing guitar. I mean, you must have crossed paths with, I don't know, Mac Davis and
Mac was one of the guys that Bill encouraged to write songs for him, and there was me and Jerry and Mac and Joe South, Tommy Roe, Billy Joe Royal.
Yeah, so Mac Davis wrote In the Ghetto,
right,
and a bunch of other songs. Tommy Roe had a whole bunch of hits, Sheila and Dizzy, and you would know some of these Tommy Roes. Tommy Roe is not a household name. He kind of falls into a category that's not really a category, but I
call it bubblegum.
Had a bunch of bubblegum hits, and then Billy Joe Royal sung Down in the Boondocks.
He did.
Hey.
Down in the boondock. Right.
Yeah, that's all I know from Billy Joe Royal. But I still give myself credit for my Billy Joe Royal pull there.
Yeah, if we're dropping names, I have to know. As I'm sure you run into all the time, where you are a huge Dolly Parton fan, and I think you may have worked with her before.
Yeah, when she was signed to Monument, Fred Foster's label here in Nashville, which was Roy Orbison's label. She was just starting, and I was producing records for Fred Monument, and he said, "Here, I got a new girl I want you to produce." And so I took Dolly in the studio, and we made some great little records. Those records were not successful, but I'm still proud of them. And she, of course, went on and took a more country leaning. But I wrote her some songs. One song I wrote for her was called Busy Signal. And it was sort of a Detroit type sound.
Like a Motown
sound, yeah.
I can't imagine her doing that. I would love to hear that.
Well, look it up on the internet. It's a good record.
Yeah.
Busy Signal's the name of it.
Like anyone knows what a busy signal is these days. These damn kids.
It's so interesting how people start off somewhere and sort of morph into something else, and there's a lot of that. Also, Mama Cass Elliot from the Mamas and the Papas. What you work on? What you work with her on?
Well, she was on my TV show. I had the Andy Williams Summer Show on NBC in 1970, and Cass was a regular. Mama Cass was a regular on the cast of that show.
Yeah, so I think I remember sitting around in North Hollywood in the 70s looking at a 13-inch black and white Zenith TV and seeing compilation albums sold by like K-Tel, like Ray Stevens, and it was a 2-part album, and I don't know, you could pay an extra $1.50 and get it in cassette.
Ooh la la.
Like it was a completely different time. It was completely
Everywhere.
analog, but you could still sell 5 million units of a funny VHS tape.
Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Did so? Do you ever have to work again if you don't want to? I mean, is there a lot of publishing and royalties and that kind of stuff?
Well, I have a showroom here in Nashville called the CabaRay, and CabaRay.
Good.
Nice.
And it seats 700, and it's a neat little venue, and I work there a lot, here a lot. I'm sitting in the studio control room of the CabaRay as we speak. But I could book out and still go and do road gigs. I'm just kind of tired of traveling at this point, and so I chose to build something close to my house so that I could continue to work and not have to travel.
Wow.
What kind of venues were you playing at the height of your powers, when you had all the hits and everything is beautiful and you're touring the world? I'm guessing, was Guitarzan huge in Brazil? Or
I don't know. I've never been to Brazil. It might have been a hit down there. I really can't remember ever trying to find out, but I played everywhere. I played fairs and Las Vegas and Australia. I played a show in Vienna, Austria once. That was a trip. And, I had a lot of fun. I used to travel with a little 5-piece band and 3 girl singers. And I was influenced by Ray Charles and the Raylettes when I decided to use 3 girl singers, background singers. And it's worked out for me. So
What were they called? The Raylettes was taken.
no, I didn't call them the Raylettes. Today I call them the Shameless Huzzies.
did you ever open for somebody back in the day who turned out to be a household name, or have somebody open for you, take them out on tour, who turned out to be a household name?
Sure. I used to open in Vegas for Bob Newhart, Shaky Green, all kinds of people, and
Comedy acts.
Pardon me?
Comedy acts as opposed to musical acts.
Well, no, I'm sure I opened for some musical acts too. I just can't remember.
Tony Tennille.
Yeah, did I open for Captain Tennille? Oh, Tony. Okay. Did she open for me?
She opened for you.
Yeah, that's right. She opened for me. After she left the captain, why?
Oh, she left the captain. I would have to be an interesting conversation with Captain and Tennille, because one of their big hits was Muskrat Love.
Sure.
And then Ray would be like, Muskrat Love, what the hell kind of song is that? And then she'd go, Ahab the Arab? You're judging me? Sing about at least my shit rhymed. So Ray, was it when you Everything is Beautiful became this big hit and this big anthem, and it was kind of John Lennon's Imagine 9 years before Imagine. It was that sort of let's heal, let's come together, young, black and white, and all kids of the rainbow, like join hands.
Right.
But that was in between Ahab the Arab and Guitarzan, right?
No, it was after Guitarzan, and it was before The Streak.
Oh, before The Streak, right. So did people know it was the same guy singing those songs?
I guess. I don't know. I assume they did.
You weren't trying to hide it in any way, like be 2 different personalities.
No. The name Ray Stevens was on the record label. So
I'm looking at the lyrics for Busy Signal. Adam, you will love this. It's like she's trying to get through to him. They had a fight. Who's he talking to? Why can't I get through? I want to tell him I'm sorry. I mean, what a great song without even hearing it yet.
Is there a recording of Dolly Parton's Busy Signal?
Sure,
I think it's on
was,
YouTube.
All right, let's
hear it.
I wrote it for her. Yeah.
And she was in her 20s at the time?
Probably, yeah.
When she had even more of that Minnie Mouse voice, that very high vibrato.
So she wasn't country back then.
Interesting.
Well, she was, but I didn't take her in that direction as a producer. And although we did cut some country-oriented songs in addition to the two that I wrote for her, which were kind of Motown style. But
can't wait to hear her sing that style.
Ben, can you find Busy, or Dawson, can you find Busy Signal by Dolly Parton?
We have it.
All right. This is on.
This might be my new favorite Dolly song.
Does it all feel like a dream, Ray?
Oh, I don't know if it feels like a dream, but my memory is, as I get older, my memory is getting foggier. Let's put it that way.
Well, you have more information to go through every time someone asks a question.
What's that?
You have more information to go through every time someone asks a question. You've lived a lot of life and done a lot of things.
Well, if I should keep a calendar in front of me so that I can go back to those days and recall things accurately. But,
It's so incredible how much the business has changed since you started in the business. I mean, when you started in the business hadn't changed in 50 years or more, right? It was the same.
Well, it was a slower change. Let's put it that way. I mean, back when I was a kid growing up, it was Frank Sinatra and, the guys that sang with big bands, and they kind of controlled it. They had it. And then rock and roll came along, and rhythm and blues actually paved the way for rock and roll. And people like the Drifters and the Midnighters and the Clovers and Ray Charles and the Coasters. Oh, yeah. I love the Coasters. They used to sing those comedy songs written by Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller.
Oh, someone wrote those songs. Interesting. Yeah, so the Coasters, I mean, Ray would love the Coasters because they were singing novelty songs, but they had hooks.
Like Yakety Yak.
Yakety Yak, Charlie Brown.
Right.
They had lots of funny hits. Oh, God. Yeah, trying to think of what other Coasters
Little
hits.
Egypt,
No.
down in Mexico, Poison Ivy.
Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy.
I covered them on Along Came Jones and had a hit with it years after.
Along Came Jones, Big Saxon.
don't know.
Okay, no. Along came.
There was a movie. There was a
Blanket
movie
Jones.
that song was written about, I think, and it starred Gary Cooper.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you like old westerns, look that one up. It's pretty good.
Yeah, that was in one of their. Along Came Jones was one of their hits too. I'm trying to think.
Run, Red, Run.
No.
Young Blood, Searching.
Young Blood. It was kind of like Poison
I was
Ivy.
gonna say, is it Poison Ivy?
Young Blood. Yeah, Young Blood was a hit of theirs. God, I'm trying to think.
Shopping for Clothes, Wake Me, Shake Me. Smokey Joe's Cafe, though I imagine that
Smokey
might
Joe's
have been
Cafe was a hit. Yeah. Yeah, they had a lot of hits. And the Coasters are still around. There's just none of them are around. But the Coasters
Right.
are
New
around.
Coasters.
Yeah.
Different guys, same group name though.
Same group name. So Ray, you're doing shows every Thursday and Saturday
Here at the CabaRay, yes.
At the CabaRay, and you can get tickets at RayStevensCabaret.com. Also an album out called Ain't Nothin Funny Anymore, and you can find that. It's not released yet, but when's that coming out?
What's that?
It's released. It's out.
Oh, it
Oh,
is?
it's out.
Oh, released last year.
Oh, released last year. I screwed that up. Sorry. That's out. So Ain't Nothing Funny Anymore is that. Now we got to listen to some Tommy Roe songs. Tommy Roe was bubblegum, as you say, but he had a ton of hits. But he never really got past that. Sheila and Dizzy.
Did he? No, he didn't. He didn't write Sugar Sugar, did he? Because it came up on his list.
I don't know.
I don't
With
think
the
he wrote
Archies,
it.
right? Okay.
No, Sugar was another group.
Yeah.
I remember because I
it was the
clapped.
Archies.
I think it was the Archies. I clapped in the background on that record. I happened to be in New York, cut it in New York, And I happened to be up there, and a friend of mine, I was at a studio, and I was walking down the hall, and a friend who was on the session came out and got me. She said, come in here and help us clap on this thing. And I said, okay. And so I, and it was sugar, sugar.
Oh, that's great. He did Yummy, Yummy, Yummy.
I got love in my tummy. Yeah, he did a bunch of hits. Well, at least you didn't have to run out to the car and pop the trunk. All you had to do was walk in and clap your hands.
That's it, yeah.
Ray, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so happy you're around and making music and wowing the crowd all these years on. The great Ray Stevens, everybody. Thanks, Ray.
Thank you, Adam. Come see us when you can.
In Nashville, yeah. Yeah, now, Chris, you got to find some Tommy Roe. You just go the best of Tommy Roe.
Very bubblegum.
No.
Do you know Stagger Lee?
Oh, yeah. Well, Stagger Lee is a great song. That's
an old blues number.
He covered.
Yeah, apparently, because
the actual
1977.
Stagger Lee's. Let me hit a spot here. Blindsgalore.com. Black Friday and Cyber Monday right around the corner. Check out blindsgalore.com. Do it today so you're ready when this huge sale starts November 22nd. Give any room an incredible makeover with custom blinds, motorized shades, vinyl shutters, and even drapery. Do it all from home. Just take measurements, customize it online. See exactly how your blinds and shades will look on screen before you buy them. We use these guys. Dr. Drew uses these guys. Everyone here uses these guys. Plus, you can get up to 15 free samples. If you can't pick a color after 15, that's on you. That's right. You can check out your favorite fabrics up close and personal. These guys it's a great company, mother-daughter team. Blinds Galore, in-house experts will be standing by online or over the phone to help you every step of the way. It's Blinds Galore, right, Dawson?
Blindsgalore.com is the best place to get custom designer blinds and shades without paying a designer price. Order your free samples so you're ready for their huge Black Friday sale. It starts on November 22nd, and everything will be 50% off. Visit blindsgalore.com today. Let them know that we sent you. That's blindsgalore.com.
All right, comedian Yannis Pappas in studio right after this.
It's time for Nicaraguan Name That Movie with Adam's buddy Oswaldo. See if you can guess which movie this famous line is from.
Snake, why did he hire to be a snake?
If you said Raiders of the Lost Ark,
snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
You're correct. Now, back to the show.
All right, Yannis Pappas is running late, but we'll keep you posted on that. The 12-hour walk, Gina.
Yeah.
I must consult.
Yes.
I have issues now.
Oh, Jesus, what?
Well, I've been thinking about it ever since I heard about it. And while I'm not looking forward to it, I also feel like I would like to embrace it.
Yeah.
Push forward, much like doing The Masked Singer.
Sure.
So Gina had her date.
Yeah.
That was the last
Saturday.
weekend, but I was going to be in Malibu that weekend, so I didn't want to walk down PCH, so I said I'll do it this weekend. This Saturday is my only day.
Yeah.
Sunday's football with Sonny and the boys.
Sure.
So I had it slated for Saturday.
Yes, you have.
Now, Saturday, the way the weather is where I am in the foothills, because I checked it, it's 45 degrees in the morning, and then it gets up to 70, which
Perfect.
means you got to grab a sweat jacket or a beanie or something, but that's what backpacks are for.
Right.
We also
I did all that.
discussed the fact that it gets light about 5:45 or something like that.
6:20.
Well, you've said that, but I feel like I saw, or I woke up and looked at the clock, and it was like 5:45, and it was starting to get light.
Peeking out. Okay. So
I
it's
could
early.
leave. I can leave in the dark,
Yeah.
but 6 to 6 was kind
Sure.
of the
Perfect.
thing. All right. Now, I have found out that James Baby Doll Dixon is coming in from New York, and that Jimmy's 55th birthday party with the skeleton crew of Danny Two Sheets and that group where we run up the bill for
Sure.
Dixon.
With the truffle.
That is taking place at a high-end bistro at 7 o'clock on the west side.
Get home right at 6, change your clothes, jump in the pool, get back in the car.
I can do it. I'm worried that I'm going to have a martini and pass out.
It would fucking suck.
Or so the restaurant from where I'm at, 40 to 45. So if I got home at 6, I'd have 15 to turn it around.
It's not great.
And hit the road. On the other hand, I could then leave at 5 in the morning, but it's going to be dark for a while and it is freezing. But I don't mind the cold. I just mind the part where I have to layer up and then unpack and schlep. It's not the end of the world. But, if the dinner was at 8, I could buy myself an hour. As it is, if I do 6 to 6, I have about 15 or 20 minutes to turn it around. But I'm also wondering how I'm going to feel.
You're not factoring in that. That's true. Now, I know that you're an athletic dude and that you might not be, maybe you won't be as sore as I was, but you're going to be pretty fucking sore. And you're going to you're going to be a little tired. You're going to be dragging. Now, this is a hard one for me because personally, the people who know me in my personal life know that I only commit to one big thing a day. So if there's a dinner at night, then I'm fucking locked down pretty much for the day. It's too many activities. So I'm a bad one to ask. But my question for you is, if you kicked the can down the road again,
Yep.
this is sort of a 3 strikes policy. So if you commit to the next date, we are all counting on that. If not, do it, don't do it, we're done.
Well, the problem with the next weekend is then I'm back in Malibu.
Blood Alley.
Yes, and I don't want to do this on PCH. So then I have to get back
Right, so you can do it in 2
to La
Saturdays.
Cañada. Yes, but now I have to check the calendar.
Well,
but
but
if I'm
here's
in town, yes.
as a sort of a compliment to you, you're not really known, at least to me, for breaking promises. You're pretty much if you say you'll do it kind of guy. So that buys you a little bit of grace. It buys you a little bit of goodwill. But I did it, and I know you don't want me to look like the big lone hero all by myself.
No, and Bryan's in the hospital.
Yeah, Bryan
so
gets a pass.
he gets a pass. So we don't know if he's faking that flu or not
not
to
that
get out
good
of
of
the
an
walk.
actor.
But
That's
yeah, look, I could do it. It is, Dixon doesn't come out from New York very often. This is a A-list night of drinking with fun-ass people.
It could be really good conversation fodder.
It could be, although knowing these guys, we'll figure out something to talk about.
Right.
But I'm worried that I'm going to have a drink and want to go lay down like 20 minutes into the meal.
You absolutely will.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I think I'm going to have to kick the can down the road.
Okay. Or why don't you do like a Friday fucking 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. Why don't you do something a little, it doesn't have to be a perfect weekend day. It could be something weird.
Yeah, it could.
It's not happening.
I don't think. Yeah, I'd like to do the 6 to 6
Okay.
on a Saturday.
All right.
So I'll have to.
I'm going to give you this much rope. Do not make this your New Year's resolution. It has to be before January 1st.
Got to be before
Okay.
then. All right, so Yannis is running a few minutes behind, but he'll
What's
come
up
in
with
here.
these comedians?
I don't know, 2 in a row. Dawson has a mashup he's been sitting on. I think somebody on Twitter recommended this one, right?
Yeah, somebody on Twitter said that we should get Herb Alpert's Route 101 and throw in some guest stars. Of course, Jim Carolla will make an appearance, but
I've never tried to imitate Yoko Ono before, but just hearing her for 7 seconds, I feel like I could.
Yeah, I think all you have to do is step into a bear trap
Yeah.
and have a bullhorn.
Let's try it.
All right. What I was hearing there was Tommy Roe doing Buddy Holly.
Oh.
You were spot on.
Okay, thank you.
That was wonderful.
I think in retrospect, I gave it a little bit of a Woody Woodpecker vibe.
She doesn't get enough grief for what she does artistically. All right. So a story I wasn't going to get into, but if Yannis isn't here, the Paul Pelosi story is getting weirder by the day. I don't know if you've heard anything about this.
Please enlighten me.
Well, first, as we did discuss on this show, right, there was the NBC local report.
From, was it the Today Show?
Yeah, it was NBC Today Show. The correspondent's name is journalist Miguel Almaguer.
You would recognize him. He's
Yeah.
popped up and done a lot of stuff. And they ran it, and then they scrubbed it, and they said it didn't meet their broadcasting standards. These are the people who said the Hunter Biden laptop wasn't fake.
Right.
Was fake. And that they were talking about Russian collusion for 3 years. So
those stories are all still up.
They're all still up. Okay. So I don't know exactly what their standards are in terms of accuracy.
Right.
But there's a montage of those people talking about Hunter Biden's laptop being Russian collusion, and then Russian collusion being Russian collusion. They didn't get those wrong, or anything about COVID and masks. That meets their standards. But the Paul Pelosi story didn't meet their standards. So they took it down, even though all the reporter did was say, I talked to cops and they told me what happened. So there's that. And now the reporter that did the report has been suspended.
What?
And he's not to be heard from. And now you have the, I think, Department of Justice giving one version of what happened that day. And then the local cops who have looked at the video, which they won't release, giving another version of what happened.
What is on? Could it be something weird in the background? Like, is there a sex chair that they don't want us to see? What? Like, the story itself is okay. A dude came in. You guys fought over a hammer. You got hit. Okay.
Well,
what do you not want us to know?
Well, I think here's the world that we're living in now. A story happens. It could be Paul Pelosi, or it could be January 6th, or it could be almost any story. Then the political side of the world gets hold of it and they politicize it. And they go, do you see this guy was a big Trump supporter, and it's all the rhetoric that's coming from the right that forced him to do it, right? Now, it turns out the guy was an insane guy and a nudist and had Black Lives Matter flags hanging around the Winnebago he was camping out of. It was a complete nut job. But
nut job.
The news takes it and turns it into something.
Right.
I'm sorry, the political parties do, and they turn it into something. And then the news, and this is the problem, think they work for that one political party, which is a problem. So the political party goes, Hunter Biden laptop's a fake, and then all the news outlets go, well, these are our guys. We're going to protect them. Instead of doing journalism, like, where is this laptop?
Right.
Can we have a look at it? Let's see if we can verify this. They just go all in,
right.
And then a story comes out. And then what happens is the truth starts to trickle out. And whatever the truth is, it's different than what the Democrats said, and it's different than what the news said. Now they're in a weird position because they, instead of taking a neutral position, have taken a side, and now they have to protect one side, even though no one told them to do that. That's not their job, but they've been kind of forced into that. And then the right goes, what's going on? And then they go, you're conspiracy theorists. And then the right goes, we're only that way. We are that way about certain things. But in this particular case, it's because you guys keep hiding stuff and not giving us a straight story. Now we are suspicious. So that's what ends up happening. Like, now it's coming out. There was a bunch of FBI guys like embedded with the Proud Boys and January 6th, and that's all that shit's gonna come out.
We'll hear, no problem. I guess my question is, for speculation, is this a political thing they're hiding, or a personal thing? Did another lady answer the door? Like, what is it?
I don't know. Chris has the story, but
yeah,
San Francisco is saying Paul Pelosi answered the door, and the DOJ is saying the cops walked in, and there's
So what happened?
And why is this guy suspended?
So Miguel, he did this. We're going to listen to some of the report, but this is the initial report from November 4th. hours later, it was taken off due to erroneous reporting, and they said the video had expired, and they just didn't want it went against their journalistic standards.
Here's my bigger question is, why is NBC working with somebody, a political party, one side or the other? This is the problem we're running into. Why is Twitter working with a political party? You're not supposed to be working with a party. You're supposed to be a platform for whatever the truth is. This is the scary part we're in. Each political party has their own point of view, and they all do the same shit. When did the news outlets get involved? That's the scary part about where we're at now. But here's the story.
Law enforcement officials tell us the bottom line here is this was a terrifying situation. We still don't know exactly what unfolded between Mr. Pelosi and the suspect for the 30 minutes they were alone inside that house before police arrived. Officials who were investigating this matter would not go into further details about these new details.
Now revealing when officers responded to the high-priority call, they were seemingly unaware they'd been called to the home of the Speaker of the House. After a knock and announce, the front door was opened by Mr. Pelosi. The 82-year-old did not immediately declare an emergency or tried to leave his home.
Well, somebody in the police force is studied the body cam footage and then said to the reporter, here's what happens vis-a-vis the body cam footage. First off, you guys get shit wrong all the time. This would just be one more thing you got wrong, but I don't know what's wrong with this.
Well, that's the thing. We talk about that all the time. Like, okay, maybe you got something wrong, but now we're all looking at you because this is very strange.
Well,
what is it? What don't we know? What did you get wrong?
Somebody would have to answer the door. It's 2:30 in the morning and the door is deadbolted. Unless the cops kicked in the door, but there's no indication that they did that.
I was more focused on, for whatever reason, for no reason, that they were in there for 30 minutes. Is that somehow relevant in a way that shouldn't be?
I don't know if that's the part they object to, but
sorry,
Chris.
I mean, the main thing is Miguel reported that Mr. Pelosi wasn't necessarily in danger, and that's kind of what, and since he opened the door himself and just the officers walked in, but then the DOJ report, like the official report, says the officers had to open the door and he was in danger right away. And then now it's conflicting with the DA in San Francisco's report, who had the body cam, that says no, Pelosi opened the door with his left hand and let the officers in. So that's the issue. So was he in danger or was he not in danger when the officers arrived?
There's another issue too, that when the police walked in, Pelosi allegedly walked back to the attacker away from the police, and I believe that was in that story too.
That's when the hammer fight over the hammer started?
Right.
He went back to the guy who had the hammer.
Well, let's deduce it down to this. Somebody answered the door because
we can all agree on that.
Otherwise, the cops would have kicked in the door or got one of those mini battering ram things from the trunk of the cruiser and busted the door open. I think if they busted the door down, we would be aware of that.
Correct.
All right. So somebody answered the door. So it was either Pelosi who answered the door or the assailant who answered the door. And I would say that if I'm going to go with the guy who reviewed the footage. That guy.
The only person who knows outside of the two of them.
Right. But no 911 call released and no video footage released either, which then leads to more speculation. So it's all, I still don't know what it is. All I know is now we're at the point where I'm the cop and I say, let me take a look in the trunk. And the driver says no.
Right.
I wasn't particularly interested in what's in the trunk, but now I'm super interested in what's in the trunk because you're telling me not to look in the trunk.
And this reporter has been on for how long? I mean, totally credible dude, not trying to sabotage anybody.
And so who told...
Looks like a cross between Obama and The Rock.
Who told NBC to scrub it? That's the question. And what's going on with the news outlets? That's my bigger question.
So what news outlet is going to report on the news outlet? I mean, obviously Fox, but...
Yeah, that's how it works. Or the New York Post, I guess. I mean, it was essentially whatever happened with COVID is whatever happened with Hunter Biden's laptop, which is Fox and the New York Post and a couple of fringe outlets said this is real or this isn't happening or this is happening or mass work or here's what vaccines do. And then the entire apparatus going against. But, who was right and who was wrong? And this is why you need diversity in who you're looking at, because there is now a unanimous chorus on everything for some reason. It's not like USA is doing one thing and the New York Times is doing something else and CNN is doing a third thing. They're all in unison and in lockstep on everything they're wrong about COVID. How's that possible? USA Today has reporters. Couldn't they have reported on ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine or whether the vaccine was effective or whether natural immunity was effective? How come they were all saying the same thing?
Coincidence.
And you're going to start seeing, and you've already started seeing, emails from the White House to Zuckerberg and to all the guys who have the platform saying, we want this, we don't want that. There's ones now saying Alex Berenson, who's a guy I follow. The reason I was ahead of the curve for most of COVID is because I would listen to guys like Alex Berenson and the Great Barrington Declaration, and I would listen to the guys who were cast out, the heretics. Right. I would listen to the heretics, and then I was right because the heretics were cast out. There's emails now of the White House saying we don't like this Alex Berenson guy. Let's get rid of him. This is insane. I don't know what's going on, but look. They're not going to stop doing what they're doing. I'm just saying, if they're going to pull somebody off, and someone who's credentialed, I mean, you have to,
you made your bones in this business.
Alex Berenson is a long and seasoned reporter, and he's very accurate. When they start pulling guys like that off platforms, and when they start taking guys who are epidemiologists from Stanford and Yale and Harvard with 70 combined years of experience, and they start deplatforming those guys, go figure out what they're saying. Because that's the only way you're going to figure out what's true.
Well, and also you're doing yourself such a disservice as a party or as a group or whatever, because for Pelosi, by not releasing this information, you have all kinds of people jumping on it, starting rumors, feeding whatever, and you've left this vacuum for that dumb shit.
It's like
they met in a Turkish bathhouse is one of the ones I heard.
We're going to boycott Chick-fil-A. All right, now everyone's going to Chick-fil-A. I don't know. I don't presume to know what's going on with this case. All I know is it's not what they said.
Right.
That's all I know. I don't have any other theories.
I just Googled unbiased news sources, and I'm going to go through the top 4. And you tell me if this rings true with your experience. The Associated Press.
Everyone is compromised a little. Like if you looked what Reuters or AP had to say about COVID, they were all wrong about COVID. And that is, they are compromised.
Okay. Wall Street Journal.
Wall Street Journal is more progressive than you think in their news, but their op-ed team varies from their news team. So,
got it.
So New York Times does the news, which is pretty hard left, and their op-ed is hard left. Wall Street Journal does news that's a little more newsier, and then their op-ed is further right.
Got it. Reuters, as you mentioned, and BBC.
I don't know about the BBC. Look, if you want to check everyone's record, just check their COVID record. If they were talking about, masks working and how effective vaccines were, and if they're hanging on every word Fauci said, then they've been compromised. That's all. It's easy. You can kind of talk about events like Benghazi, and it's like, I don't know. Does anyone really know? Like, who was there? But you can sort of check the COVID record for that. Let's see. Oh, okay. Do you want to play that second part of that vaccine with the black hair, as long as we're talking about COVID? Mm-hmm. So I was looking at that story about black women using hair relaxer and the chemicals,
the parabens,
causing causing cancer. And then we've talked to Robert Kennedy Jr., I think, about how, remember, he was saying pharmaceutical companies are 80% of the revenue for commercials for all these networks.
Right.
All right. So this is a story from MSNBC that the title of the story is, Black women, hair relaxer, and cancer. That's what I think I'm going to watch.
Right.
That's the first 3 minutes and 27 seconds of the story.
Really?
But the whole thing is over 7 minutes long.
Oh.
The last 3 minutes and 48 seconds, which is a bigger part of the story, is a commercial for pharmaceutical companies.
What?
And I played this to Dr. Drew, by the way, and he went, I have no idea what this doctor's talking about, but we'll play it to you. We edited it down a little bit. But the second part of the black woman hair story
rolls. I thought that was the headline.
Well, the news anchor is talking to Dr. Zerlina.
Zerlina Maxwell's the news anchor, and she's talking to Dr. Ebony Hilton about
Ebony
black
Hilton.
hair.
All right. So we go from women black hair into...
I want to turn to the topic of COVID. On Tuesday, President Biden announced vaccines are now available for kids under the age of 5. I know a lot of parents out there have been waiting forever for this announcement. What do you want to tell them about vaccinating their children under 5 and how important that is?
Right. For one, I would hope they see that it did take a long time before this was rolled out, because first, safety had to be verified. And that is most important. The second thing I want them to know is oftentimes this was stated early on that kids are protected. But what we know is that 6 times the number of kids died from COVID than the flu.
All right. Hold it. All right. But nobody died from the flu. No, they had a very weak flu season. But kids, according to Dr. Drew, kids don't die of the flu. Or very few.
Right.
So it can be 6 times as many, but 6 times as many is still a very small number.
6 times 1 is 6.
The starting number is very small. But we'll continue on. Listen to Kennedy's voice about the commercials ringing in your ear.
Right. We had 600 children who are no longer with us from 2021 because of COVID-19. And there is now a method that you can...
All with pre-existing conditions. They're now thinking it's 100% pre-existing conditions. These are kids that may not have seen 2023. But she's got this number at 600, which is still insanely low if you really think about it statistically. But she's pushing hard. And now listen to where she goes.
From 2021 because of COVID-19. And there is now a method that you can use to help protect your child from being hospitalized and keep them alive to see next year.
Keep them alive.
There's a saying, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Keep your kids vaccinated, make sure they're wearing those masks, and practice those same mitigating factors that we've been doing now for 2.5 years. What we do know is that COVID-19 is linked to a number of different disease processes that we can already trace. They say, well, you can't tell the long-term consequences of the vaccine. Well, yes, we can. In Q time, I've got my vaccine back in December 2020, right? I was the first person at the University of Virginia. We've now been able to track persons like me to see what has happened. Has anything changed?
Oh, did your period
But what
get
we
fucked
also
up
know
too?
is that we're tracking people who have COVID-19, children and adults alike. And what we know is that 1 in every 5 persons who've been infected with COVID-19 now has a lingering disability where their organs, their heart, their lungs, their kidneys, their brain is no longer functioning in the same way.
All right. Well, 20% of people who got COVID, that's everyone in America, are having long-term organ dysfunction.
Ooh.
Dr. Drew goes, I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. What is she talking about? Every human being has gotten COVID. She's talking about long-term organ failure from people getting COVID. So you have to get the shot, except for you can get COVID with the shot. So
how old is this?
This is 3 weeks old.
That's crazy.
This is her making a hard push to get kids under 5 vaccinated.
You know what's interesting about that? What I don't hear people talking about.
And lying and exaggerating the whole time. Is she doing a commercial for the pharmaceuticals?
That's kind of
She's supposed to talk about black women's hair.
That's kind of my point and my question, because we know we live it. We experience it every day, that COVID in its whatever non-stepped on form when it first started was killing people, we were on ventilators, it was a fucking mess. Now it seems, and I am not a doctor, but I have eyes, it seems that that COVID has been so diluted and the strains have been so diluted that some nurses say it's really more of just a cold now. So why aren't we telling people that too? It's not like it was.
The host was not pushing back. You can rewind it 10 seconds. And she was talking about long-term organ damage from 20% of people that had COVID, which would then be tens of millions of Americans would have this organ damage.
I feel like we would have heard about that.
She's making it up. She's making it up. Go ahead.
Alike. And what we know is that 1 in every 5 persons who've been infected with COVID-19 now has a lingering disability where their organs, their heart, their lungs, their kidneys, their brain is no longer functioning in the same way that it was before they got infected with COVID-19. And when you take that developing child whose organs have not come to what it's going to be for the rest of their life, and you stress it out, and you put it on that treadmill and say, I want you to sprint. What does that do for the longevity of their life, not only in the quantity of their life and whether or not they will live a full life as we hope to live, but the quality of their life? We don't want to see that. We don't know what that's going to be for COVID-19, and we don't have to risk it because we have a vaccine.
Except for you get COVID-19 with the vaccine. This is a weird propaganda. She's a physician who's on TV pushing your kids under 5 to get vaccinated when there's no reason to do that statistically.
This is weird.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
And the host is not going, well, how many healthy kids died under the age of 18? Or what do you mean long-term organ damage? You just said 1 in 5. That'd be 20% of Americans. There's 330 million Americans. Some people think 300 million got infected with COVID. What kind of impact is this going to have on how hard is this going to stress our system in the upcoming years if millions and tens of millions of people are showing up with organ issues?
And something tells me she would have been pulled off after this segment if she did that.
Yeah, it's all Orwellian and creepy.
I fucking hate this because as somebody who I believe is pretty moderate, like left-leaning moderate, I don't want any of this propaganda to be true or false. I just want to, like most of us, I just want to know what's going on. I don't want to be put in one camp or the other. I'm not fighting for anyone in particular. I just want to know what the fuck to do.
And why isn't this fake news? 20% of people are going to have long-term organ damage because they're infected with COVID-19, even though the vaccine doesn't stop you from being infected. And why doesn't the host go, well, if the vaccine doesn't stop you from being infected and if you get infected, you have long-term organ damage, and why get vaccinated? Maybe she'd have an answer. I don't know, but
we'll never know.
Push back a little. All right. Let's see. Yannis Pappas is better late than never. We'll take a quick break and we'll do some news and just have him sit in with that right after this. Good to see you, Yannis.
Good to see you again, Adam.
Yeah, I was thinking about taxes and Democrats and Republicans this morning, actually, because I was thinking most of the people that are going berserk over the Elon Musk $8 a month thing live in New York or California, and many of the people we've heard of are millionaires. And if you're a millionaire celebrity and you live in California, you're giving the state of California at least $500K a year in extra taxes as opposed to living in Nevada or a place that had no state tax. But you're bitching and moaning about the $8 a month. And I thought, that's not consistent.
Yeah, just skip coffee one morning. You'll be fine.
Yes. Or you're rich.
Or just get 2 coffees and stop complaining. You got the $8.
Yeah, the coffee... the fact that people pay $6 for coffee and $6 for water just means we can pay anything for anything at any time.
Yeah. Nobody's complaining about the $8 water. Whoever owns water, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
They're making a lot of money.
I just want to get rid of all the fucking plastics.
Yeah.
I it's not because I love sea turtles. It's just such a weird waste when you see that case of plastic bottles show up.
Enshrined in plastic.
Enshrined in plastic. Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yannis, by the way, has dates coming up: Detroit, Michigan, House of Comedy, and Jacksonville, Florida, Comedy Zone. House of Comedy is December 1st through the 3rd, and then Comedy Zone is the 8th through the 10th. And you can go to YannisPappasComedy.com for live shows. So, Yannis, usually we do the news in this segment. We screwed it up with Ari Shaffir yesterday.
We're on a roll.
So I figured, well, you're a comedian. Just sit in with the news.
Okay.
And we'll do it that way. Let Gina spread her wings and fly. I was reading the bio here. Sorry, Gina.
Yeah.
Wrap that news up.
Okay, that's the news.
I forgot Yannis. I'm just reading this because it's making me laugh, because I remember last time he was in, we were talking about being outside that New York nightclub, and it says botched armed robbery attempt, and you got shot in the thigh.
I did,
think.
yeah,
Right.
I did.
But now I really want to drill down on the word botched, because botched means you shot yourself in the thigh. You shooting somebody else and still getting his chain is not botched.
That's a success.
That's a successful robbery there. I think botched means you got to get hit in the face with an oar, or you got to go, oh God, Plexico Burris, where the gun goes off in your sweatpants. That's botched.
Yeah.
You shooting a random white dude, that's a victory.
That's target. Yeah, he hit the target.
Yeah, not botched.
No.
Hold your head up.
No. He aimed and he fired and he hit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would call that a success, not
That's a
botched.
win.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, Gina.
Yeah. Well, we all, I think, knew this was coming, but it's official. Donald Trump announced his candidacy for president for the 3rd time on Tuesday, once again promising to make America great again. Here's the clip from the end of his announcement.
I am running because I believe the world has not yet seen the true glory of what this nation can be. We have not reached that pinnacle, believe it or not. In fact, we can go very far. We're going to have to go far. First, we have to get out of this ditch. And once we're out, you'll see things that nobody imagined for any country. It's called the United States of America, and it's an incredible place.
The more subdued Trump.
Yeah. It's kind of a more low resting pulse.
Took
Trump.
some CBD before that.
Yeah, some beta blockers.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna fare well.
No.
Because now we have DeSantis.
That's right.
And DeSantis is basically, I never thought about it, but it's like you got 2 girls you could bring home to mom on Thanksgiving. They're both hot, but one of them has tattoos and swears.
A little bit of a hair trigger.
And the other one is just hot.
Yeah.
Same beliefs, same talking points, same income, same everything, just minus a few aggressive piercings. And you got to bring it home. You got to sell her to mom.
Yeah.
DeSantis is just the one without the tats and the aggressive piercings.
Yeah, but I mean, Trump has such a head start with the base, with the loyalists.
Well, we shall.
It'll be interesting.
That red wave in Florida, though, that's confidence for DeSantis. Yeah, I kind of view Trump as sort of Jordan on the Wizards at this point, and DeSantis feels like Kobe.
Wow.
So I feel like
He's
that's
new.
gonna be
All the way up.
Trump's like Denzel at the end of Training Day right now. At the
Wow.
end
When he's being surrounded?
Yeah, it's kind of how he feels.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And DeSantis is walking away.
Yeah. DeSantis is Ethan Hawke.
Interesting. I like that.
And
Well,
Trump,
yeah.
I also realize, as we found out from the midterms, and certainly here in California with Karen Bass winning out over Rick Caruso, I've talked to a million people, a lot of women, but a lot of dudes too. Policy doesn't really matter anymore. No. It's just like, fuck that guy. I hate that guy. And I go, all right, you hate this guy or you like this girl, but can we talk about policy? Like, policy makes a difference. And I don't give a fuck about policy. They don't. We're living in a new place where your average person would go, raise my taxes, open the border, have gas be $7 a gallon. I don't give a fuck. I hate that asshole.
Yeah.
And that's now my feeling is with all these guys is you're never going to have a beer with the guy, but you do have to pay for gas.
Right.
So I'll just go with the policy over the personality, but we have shifted hard and most people are getting more personality based than policy based. And he ain't going to win on personality. That's for sure. And policy for most people are sort of, I don't know, it's a little neither here nor there, which is a weird place
stance
to be if you're the subject of the policy and you never have to converse with the person. But most people are personality over policy now. And like you take your average person that loved Obama and your average person that hates Trump. They're not familiar with either guy's policy. All they know is I like that dude, and that dude's a douche.
Yeah.
And that's enough.
Yeah, no, it's changed. It's not the same anymore. Nobody knows policy. Nobody knows nuance. I mean, I remember when I was growing up, like, you know, I remember my parents, my dad was a Republican, my mom was a liberal. That used to be like commonplace, and people kind of had a little bit more decorum. I mean, you know, your dad was a Republican because he owned a business, and your mom was a liberal because she lived off of him, you know, and it was like everyone understood that it was fine. It's not a big deal. Now it's like everyone's kind of bunkered down into their camps.
Yeah.
And, it's the TikTokization of just short attention span and trolling. Like, I hate this guy. So a lot of times people will vote because they hate the other guy or girl.
See,
well, with Hillary, I mean guy.
I am so pragmatically wired that if somebody who represented the Santeria party said, look, you know, when I get home, I rub together chicken bones, but when I'm working for you, I'm cleaning up the garbage. I am getting rid of the homeless encampments. I want school choice. I want to lower the tax. I'd be like, I'm voting for the Santeria party. I'm just voting for whoever is going to do what I want them to do because I'm never going to come in contact with them.
You don't have to be that brand loyal, I think is the point.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you're just saying you're a little more sophisticated than today's voter. Average, the body politic now, it's like, I don't even think they can understand the issues. I don't even think they get that far.
We're so brand loyal in Los Angeles that we had two Democrats, but one was a little more of a Democrat than the other guy who was less of a Democrat, even though they're both running as Democrats. That we just voted for the one that was more Democratic than the lesser Democratic of the Democrats. That's
Jesus
where we're
Christ.
at.
Well, one person who's going to be out of Trump's campaign is Ivanka. She didn't want any part of it. She says she's focusing on raising the kids and doing the family thing. And she's not, I mean, she was his advisor. She was like pretty high ranking. She's out.
I was always very impressed by her.
I can imagine.
Very impressed.
She's the one, right? Out of all the kids.
I did Celebrity Apprentice. There's a kind of a power rankings, but Ivanka, I was like, wow, this is a sharp, well put together. If you can find the beginning of the show Heart to Heart, that was, and you'll hear the butler talking about Mrs. Hart.
Right.
That was what I thought about Ivanka Trump. I was like, she would walk into there composed. It was like she was reading off a teleprompter, put together, beautiful, had her shit together. It was never like yelling at someone on the phone when she walked in or anything. Like, I walked away from that whole experience and I was like, man, she's the one.
Yeah, she seems like a nice lady.
Composure-wise, it doesn't get any wider than like Ivanka Trump and Kim Kardashian. Like, because there's a lot of crying on that show. There's a lot of mudslinging.
Yeah. All right, here's the beginning of Heart to Heart. I think you'll know what I'm.
Okay.
I'm hearing dun, 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 boom, 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 dun, 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 and I'd hear that guy narrating. She knows how to take care of herself.
Jesus. Yeah, she composed and statuesque, I think, are the two words to describe her.
Sharp, just, you just went like, wow. Like when she'd come in, she'd talk for 10 minutes or something, and then she'd leave, and you just go, Jesus Christ, she's got her shit together.
In my entire life, the woman that has intimidated me more than anyone else that I've met is Felicia Rashad. I wonder if Ivanka would take her place if I was in the same room with her.
I oftentimes think to myself, who is prouder, Felicia Rashad or Karen? Oh God, what's the black choreographer name?
Debbie Allen.
Debbie Allen.
That's her sister.
Is that Debbie? No.
I'm 99% sure they're sisters.
No, don't do a black simile.
I promise I'm not. Somebody Google me right.
I remember looking at those two women and goes, those are the two proudest women I've ever seen in my life. If they're related, I will go insane because I would always think of Felicia Rashad and Debbie Allen as the two proudest women I've ever come across.
Let's see here.
They're sisters.
Oh, she got it. Yeah, you guys can.
I must have tapped into something.
must
I
have.
never knew they were sisters, but I was like, she is proud and she is proud.
Come from proud stock.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Mm.
So last we heard with Kevin Spacey and Adam Rapp, that was done. He's out. But he recently, he now has some new charges against him.
So he's like, he has a Pez dispenser of accusers, right? Like Popeye's head slips back, one pops out, and then you go, thank you, enough Pez. And like, nope, pull Popeye's head back again.
You love grape.
There's another one.
Yes.
7 more came off the bench.
That's
Funny
right.
you said that because British prosecutors say the new round of charges include 3 for indecent assault, 3 for sexual assault, and 1 for causing a person to engage in sexual activity without consent. That's 7. They're all related to one male accuser who claims the assaults occurred between 2001 and 2004. Spacey is already scheduled to stand trial in June for 5 counts of sexual assault on 3 men in a separate case. He's denied all charges against him. And by the way, receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award from Italy's National Museum of Cinema at an event in January. He's beloved. That's his country now.
Really?
He does a lot of, like, remember when he did that weird monologue on the steps? He was in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do we have an extradition policy?
Yeah, with Italy, I'm pretty sure we do.
But he can't avoid.
I mean, he's an actor. I mean, he's probably going like, they were auditioning. That's how it used to be. What's the problem?
That's the Harvey defense.
Yeah, I mean, when you were describing it, I was like, yeah, they were probably auditioning.
Well, since the line is so blurry against consensual and assault now, it's all been very blurred out. And especially if your guy likes to tilt a few and then hook up with a younger guy and now it becomes he said, this is going to just keep going in perpetuity, right?
Yeah. And I think one of the new sort of anthems, for lack of a better word, that is coming across in sort of this, and if we're still in like third wave feminism, is coercion is not consent. Because how many times, well, you guys don't, well, maybe you do, but we just get fucking ground down. You just grind, you beg, and you piss, and you moan, and and then you're like, you know what? At this point, it would just be easier to get it over with. And that sucks. It's not something we should not consider. But is it assault? I don't know where you categorize it.
Yeah. Well, it's all getting very blurry. We have to redefine it. We have redefined it, but we're looking to redefine things that happened 8 years ago
or more
before we redefined them.
20 years ago.
And now we're kind of fucked. And by the way, there's like a thing where, kind of the legal system works that way. Like you could buy, which happened to me, you could buy a piece of property. It was a warehouse from the 40s, and then at some point, back then when there were defense contractors and they just dumped everything in the gutter, and then at some point you go, and then you buy the place in 2015 or something, and you just buy it, and then you go to sell it in 2021, and they go, have you checked the benzene levels in the water table below the warehouse? And you go, huh? And they go, oh, now they have to check the benzene levels because they used to do a lot of defense contracting out here, and some of the water table got whatever. And you're like, I don't even know what this is because they didn't do it when I bought it. And they go, well, now you got to do it. And then they do it. And then they go, yeah, it's at 7 microns. And you go, what's that mean? They go, well, it's above 5 microns, which means you have to mitigate. You have to tear out the first 20 feet of the topsoil and whatever. And then you go, 7 microns, and they go, yeah, well, in January it was 11 microns, but then they lowered it, and now you don't meet the threshold, and you're like, all right, so you're just changing definitions and rules and regulations, and these are all things that didn't exist before this, but now it does exist, and now I'm the guy who's not a defense contractor. I'm just putting cars in the warehouse, but now I got to deal with it. And there's an element of that in society for sure.
I get what you're saying. People need to get paid. There's like someone's asking for money.
Right.
Well, that was
making
my
up rules and going like, now you got to give me.
But
And so are these
where's the
accusers.
Sopranos when you need them? You grease somebody's palm, they'll backdate that to last January. Where is that? The
was
good
a
old days,
system. Yeah,
right?
that was a good system. It wasn't-
So this is just going to keep going in perpetuity.
I mean, I guess. And it's like we've talked about
But who's
this.
next? We haven't had fresh blood in the Me Too department. And I feel like COVID slowed our roll.
Yeah, people weren't hooking up that much.
And we had a little Army Hammer action.
Well, that was
but that was its
dying out on that for years.
That was its own thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be the next Me Tooer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is there going to be a Leonardo DiCaprio? Is it going to be an A-list? Jamie Foxx? Is somebody's name going to
I think Leo's
pop
tight.
up?
He's tight with the legal department and NDA. I think he
sure.
crosses all his T's.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And is Jamie Foxx still with Katie Holmes? That was a thing for a hot minute.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know.
Forgot about that.
We also haven't had in a long time. This feels very dated. A road rage story. Remember when road rage was the thing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Denise Richards was involved in this one on the way to work on Monday here. The star's husband was driving her to set in L.A. when someone pulled up alongside them and opened fire. According to TMZ, her husband Aaron was having.
What's set? Like Sharknado 7? Like
I
Denise Richards
I
is
have
going
the title
to what
for you.
set?
I'll tell you in a second.
Yeah, I was about to say star should be in quotes.
It's called Angels Fallen, Warriors of Peace.
Mm.
So we'll see.
All right.
Apparently, her husband was having a tough time finding the place, and the driver behind them was getting irritated, shouting at them, trying to squeeze around them. Aaron let the guy pass, but the driver wasn't done. He shot at the truck, hitting the back end of the driver's side. Nobody was hurt, but she got to set and she was a wreck, a mess, and sobbing. Coincidentally, that day they had their gun safety meeting for Angels Fallen, Warriors of Peace.
What is that like a C movie that's going to be where?
I don't know if it's going to get a wide release.
Chris can look it up.
Yeah.
All right.
But road rage. Been a while since, that was so 90s in LA, right? Or like the aughts. Talk about somebody pulling a gun on you on the 405.
We had pit bull attacks and road rage.
Yeah.
Those were the two things of the 80s and the 90s. A lot of pit bull and road rage. And once in a while they'd combine the two where someone would throw a pit bull at another moving car.
Does that predate going postal?
Yeah, going postal's older because it used to be in all the Valley Girl vernacular.
Oh, it was?
Like the part of, like, "Boo, put a spoon in it or something,"
Gag
or
you with
whatever.
a spoon?
Whatever they would say. Like, "Dude, she's going postal." Like,
really?
I think going postal was a Valley Girl.
Because that's when postmen were shooting up the post offices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They've moved on to schools now.
The same postman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we have time for one more?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Morrissey.
Oh,
good old Morrissey.
Yeah.
Abruptly ended his concert at the Greek Theater in LA just 30 minutes into the show on Tuesday night. Why did he do it? Don't know.
Girlfriend's in a coma. I had to rush off stage.
The singer left fans upset on Saturday after he left the stage after performing just a couple of songs. The former Smiths frontman did not explain his departure. Instead, a bandmate said this to the crowd.
Sorry, but due to unforeseen circumstances, the show is not going to continue. I'm very sorry. We'll see you next time. Apologies.
So I imagine that's like the wife that's always having to apologize to about the crazy husband. Fans took to Twitter trying to figure out what these unforeseen circumstances were. One speculated it was too cold outside because he had mentioned on stage that it was chilly. But somebody tweeted, "So Morrissey just walked off the stage at the Greek Theater after 30 minutes. Apparently he was too cold. It's in the 50s.
Maybe he had a positive COVID test that came through. And he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to put anybody at risk."
I talked to his bus driver. Didn't I, Chris? Was it his bus driver? I ran into a guy who drove his tour bus or something once. And it's the same. I have the same conversations with everyone all the time. Like famously, I talked to old 70s. I was talking to Ginger Lynn about some old 70s porn star. And I said, that guy seemed like kind of an asshole. Like it was like he would always grab chicks by the throat and kind of rough trade. And she's like, no, he was a good guy. I've worked with him many times. He's a good guy. One time he did dry anal rape on me, but other than that, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna chalk that up as a victory for me and my hypotheses. That was one, and then when I was when I was talking about Yoko Ono once to a music critic, and I went, she doesn't do anything, right? And she goes, no, she's really good. And then I said, but what does she do? And she goes, I don't know what she does, but you have to admire her courage. And I was like, okay, good, victory. She doesn't do anything. And when I was talking to Morrissey's tour bus driver, I said, I heard the guy's a little moody or a little quirky or a little difficult. And he was like, no, he's a good guy. He's a regular guy, good guy. One time we pulled up
he threw out coffee in my face.
to the theater, and his name was misspelled on the marquee, and we just kept driving. We never did the show.
But
and
he's cooler than that.
But I'm saying that is kind of what I'm...
Yeah.
It's not dry anal rape, but it is an illustration of kind of what I'm alluding to here.
Well, this is a total speculation, but maybe he smelled meat at the concession stand. Because that's a thing for him.
That's a thing for him.
What is he, pregnant? He has food aversion?
He will not sing at places that sell meat.
Oh, so
maybe the hot dog cart was rolling through.
He sounds like an easygoing guy.
He sounds super laid back.
Can I say to people, when I say to you, isn't so-and-so little, don't make your first salvo, no, and then go on to tell me he thinks he's Napoleon. And he's into some bizarre religion. Like, don't start with no. Right. You can go, it can be a little temperamental, like the time we passed the marquee and his name was misspelled. Like, why is everyone's first thing like kind of, shove off? That's my whole thing. Why is everyone's default setting of no?
Yeah, maybe he's beholden to him in some way. Right? He still works for him, or
I think that some people reflexively say no when you're floating something as a reflex, but they're not even disagreeing with you.
That's how they fill time before they come up with their answer.
Yeah.
It's like they're putting the gloves on before the hit.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a website where it lists every single Morrissey concert that's been canceled.
Oh
and
my
why.
God.
It's pretty great. He canceled his appearance at Jimmy Kimmel Live in 2013 because of Duck Dynasty also being on the bill.
On the bill. Good one.
Jesus Christ.
Postponed flights. One of them is the heater wasn't working, so maybe he does get cold pretty easily. Vocal issues. Yeah, there's a lot of things.
What was his issue with Duck Dynasty?
Probably doesn't watch the show.
Eat meat.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Hey, Duck.
Yeah. He has a beef with beef.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Beef. Any other good reasons why he's canceled? How about the marquee being misspelled? Or shall I add that? I mean, that's what his driver told me.
That was off the record.
Oh, okay. All right.
That one's not reported in the site.
So he's temperamental.
Mercurial.
Yeah. I still like the Smiths.
Okay.
I still like Morrissey. All right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.
Well, let me tell you about our friend Jordan Harbinger. All right. Yannis Pappas is going to be doing shows coming up in Detroit, Michigan, coming up in Jacksonville, Florida. You go to Yannis, spelled phonetically, YannisPappasComedy.com for all Yannis's live dates, and you can check out his podcast, Long Days with Yannis Pappas, as well. Ray Stevens, Ain't Nothin Funny Anymore. That's an album you can check out. You can check out the Ray Stevens CabaRay with a Ray.com and enjoy that as well. And me, Tucson Rialto Theater, December 15th, and then we're off to the Tempe Improv, December 16th and 17th. So just go to AdamCarolla.com for all the live shows. Until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Ray Stevens, Yannis Pappas, and Gina Grad. Say it. Mahalo.